I've got every version of oneui through from oneui 1 all the way through to oneui 8. Let's go. A couple weeks ago, I compared oneui 1.0 to version oneui 8.0. Don't know why I almost said 1 again. I compared these two bits of software against each other to sort of show you how far we've come from when oneui started to where it is now. But how did we get to that place? How did we go from oneui 1 through to oneui 8? Well, I've compiled all of the oneui versions. I haven't got the what in between all of them. So I haven't got 4.5 if there was one, or 4.1.1 or anything like that. What I've got here is 1.0, 2.5, 3.0, 4.1, 5.1, 6.1, 7, and 8. They are the versions we are running with, because we are not testing feature sets and little tiny settings toggles here and there. We're just looking at overall interaction with oneui, and then sort of similar things like we did when we compared oneui 1 to oneui 8. First thing I wanted to start with while I exit out of these is the quick panel. I wanted to see how it sort of has evolved over the years. So let's bring them all down. Quick panel, quick panel, quick panel, quick panel, quick panel, notification, notification, because there's no quick panel there. Okay, starting with oneui 1 here and oneui 2 or 2.5, what you'll see is that they don't have a blurred background. They have basically just dulled the background behind it. So you haven't got much here in the way of blur. You can pretty much see straight through. Same with oneui 2. The only difference I see with oneui 1 and oneui 2 when it comes to the quick panel is they've added in the media and devices panel there, whereas it's nowhere to be found on either the expanded quick panel here or in the shortened one. Everything else is very similar between these two. They haven't changed too much. The brightness slide is the same. Settings, toggles, and everything's still there. You do have the added power button that's there. I guess that's in relation to the Bixby key, but that's the difference there. Then when we go to oneui 3.0, you can see a shift. Samsung separated out some of the notifications to normal notifications, and then you've got silent notifications there. But you've also got this blur but lighter effect behind it. As opposed to just the blocks of white sitting at the top, you can see that they've kind of made it more see-through but lighter across the whole thing. And then notifications are sort of more blocked out so you can actually get a read on them. When you expand it down, that effect just expands even more. And you can see really straight through the quick panel with almost like a blurred, I don't want to say liquid glass effect, because then Apple fans will be like, no, we invented that. So I'm not going to say that. But effectively, you can see through it almost like a frosted glass type look. Also, what you'll notice here is the devices and media go from not being there, which I think you can add it in, not through there. I think you add it in when you hit here and you go to quick panel layout. You can add in the devices and media, and that's changed how it's looked from oneui 2 to oneui 3. And this is the one that I wanted to figure out which oneui version changed it. But the settings icons going from there, which was one-handed, to right up in the top corner, oneui 3 was where Samsung ruined that. Whilst visually it might look better, well, I guess that's depending on your preference, functionally, I actually much prefer oneui 1 and oneui 2 when it comes to that one-handed reachability, because, well, they destroyed it. Let me know what you think. oneui 4 kind of just expands on oneui 3 in terms of that quick panel and notification area that's kind of blurred out, and you can sort of see through it again like that frosted glass. But it sort of changes things to be a bit more, I don't know, it's not like this thin line for the brightness slider. They've now got an actual sort of panel for the brightness, and I much prefer that. In fact, we kind of have that here. They've kind of brought that all the way through, but we'll get to that. But you can see it's pretty much the same thing, except for that brightness slider. When you expand it down, yeah, it's now called media output instead of just media, but that is effectively a very similar looking quick panel. The time and the date is all sort of brought down in that central area. That's from oneui 3 to oneui 4. When we go to Let's put these back up so we can get a read with One UI 5. This is on my S20 Ultra here. One UI 5, again, they haven't really changed much in terms of this aesthetic of how the quick panel looked. When you expand it down, again, similar thing, hasn't really changed. You've still got the brightness slider down the bottom that it expands out from, still has that sort of bar style instead of this really thin sort of style. And they sort of kept that aesthetic going. So pretty much from One UI 3, 4, and 5, this quick panel area kind of remained visually the same with some subtle tweaks here and there. Then we get to One UI 6. Yes, that's One UI 6 on the S21 Ultra here. And immediately you can see a visual difference. No longer is it light when you sort of swipe down on it. It's now got the sort of a more blurred effect instead of a white blur effect. And it's still blurred, you can still see through it, but everything's a bit more tight. So let me just bring in see, I've just spoiled and gone ahead there. Show when quick panel collapsed. Right? You can kind of just see how, I don't know, Samsung just made it visually different. I don't know how else really to describe it, even though it's kind of my job. But you can see the visual difference is quite striking. You've gone from having sort of pretty much a consistent white and blue sort of effect here, and then it goes across to here and it's just white. You know, the toggles are either grayed out or they're lit up white. There's no sort of color or pop to it like One UI has had for the first 5 versions. And then the quick panel, that's where things really changed, because when you swipe down again, the quick panel pretty much became the primitive version of what we have now with One UI 7 and One UI 8, where instead of swiping down and it basically just flows an extension of what was already there, it basically just creates an entire new panel. Those toggles there, they don't stay like what they did here. See how that just expands out with like an animation? Here, it just fades out and then fades in a new quick panel. Things are separated. You've got sort of connection settings at the top. You have a central area for your toggles. You've got a central area for display settings. And then you've got your smart view and your device control. Samsung only stuck with this for one generation because the gap between One UI 6 and One UI 7 was long. And then they went to One UI 7 and you had now a notification area that was separate and then a swipe across to get to your quick panel. And then of course, a swipe down from the top right brings that quick panel down in the same way that this did over here. That didn't exist there. You could 2-finger swipe and it brings it down, but now it's sectioned off as opposed to just gesture-based. If we bring all the quick panels out, because One UI 8 and One UI 7 are basically identical when it comes to the quick panel. There's no real physical change. There's maybe like a slight border that's been put around the panels here versus no border. Outside of that, it's the same thing. But you can see what you've got. You've still got your sections like that. This basically was a precursor to where we are now. When we look down the line here from One UI 1 and sort of all go all the way along, you can see when the shift happened. One UI 6, that was the thing that really sort of drew a line here and then changed it. One UI 5, I guess you could say, was the starting point for that, but pretty much was One UI 6, and then Samsung have just pretty much departed completely from where we started. Next, I want to explore the navigation options, because like I said in the One UI 1 to One UI 8, there was a clear identity here that Samsung wanted to stick with the way the buttons had and just add gestures into it. And I want to see when that changed. So let's go into the navigation bar in the display settings of all of these and see when Samsung added in the swipe gestures from the side. It's not too hard to spot, actually. You can see they added it in with One UI 2. So the back swipe and the swipe up from home pretty much introduced in the second version of One UI, or at least One UI 2.5, which is what I have here on the Note 9. And then as you go along down the line, those swipe gestures are there for all of them. But you can see when Samsung removed the more sort of options, it started with sort of One UI 6, where you could remove the gesture hint in One UI 5. They kind of stopped that with One UI 6, which is a little bit disappointing because then you needed to go to Good Lock and add the Good Lock stuff in and bring those back in. But from here down, a swipe up in the middle or a swipe back will take you home. Whereas here, a swipe back, you couldn't do from the side. It was just a swipe up from the middle. That's what you had. Got some colorful backgrounds in there. These are all the stock backgrounds. From a homepage sort of view, like I said, in the 1 to 8, we're kind of where we were when we started, just some new icons and some new widgets and stuff like that. So I'm not going to go deep into that because you'll be really needing like a microscope to check the difference. Same with the apps page. Like if I swipe up on all the apps pages, they're all much of a muchness. It really only changed once we got to One UI 7 when it went from the horizontal swipe to vertical, and the search bar went from the top to the bottom to sort of match that one-handed aesthetic. Then we have the settings. And there's a lot of sort of changes. Actually, you know what? I don't think there necessarily is a lot of changes. Because again, looking down the line here, it's very similar. Like Samsung have always had the sectioned off sort of settings areas that are defined so you know where you're going and for what purposes. They've changed down the line. Like you can see that notifications was very much a prominent part at the start, but now it's sort of become a little bit further down the list. But it's all still been color-coded. It's all been sectioned. That's kind of the aesthetic that they've gone with. They did change from One UI 2 to 3, the Samsung account where it's sat. And then they also changed from 5 to 6, having the email address in the Samsung account showcased. And then it's kind of just progressed on from there. But the whole premise of that sort of top third for viewing and then bottom 2/3 for interactions for the settings is still here. Samsung haven't removed that element, and they've kind of kept leaning into that because that is what One UI was when it started. It was that whole one-handed use case. Then I want to look at the camera UI, because the camera UI for me is kind of, I guess, a showcase of how Samsung changed their mind a lot, because there's a lot of things that Samsung have added and removed and changed. They can't seem to settle on a camera UI. I think they have now, but you'll see over the years some subtle things that have changed because of just not being able to keep their mind straight. Some of the software things they input were down to hardware limitations, like on the S20 Ultra here. They had an issue with the 1x camera and focusing, so they had to put in software, tap the 2x button, then back up a bit for better focus. So they added software in, but again, that was all specifically for devices. So I'm not going to really focus on that sort of stuff. I just want to focus on how you interact with the camera. One UI 1 and One UI 2, very kind of similar. You know, you had the toggles at the top. If you needed to do anything extra, you really had to jump into the settings. That kind of stayed the same until One UI 6, or really until Samsung brought in sort of high megapixel resolutions. The S20 Ultra had high megapixel as well. It had the 108 option. I'm just trying to see where... Oh yeah, that's right. They hid the megapixel option inside the aspect ratio, whereas with One UI 6, they split that off because I think the what have I got here? A90 5G, that also had a high megapixel camera. And again, it was the aspect ratio. But in the earlier versions, if you wanted to do anything, you had to go into the settings to change a lot of that. You can see with One UI 2 and One UI 3, it was the trees that they used to indicate zoom. And then One UI 4, it went to numbers. So they ditched the whole tree system and then pretty much have stuck with numbers ever since. God, I hate how high up the power button is on the S10. And you can see as well, the camera UI kind of shifted quite quickly. On One UI 1, come on, just stay open, camera. It's like spinning plates. There we go. On One UI 1, it's got like the black background behind the mode, and then One UI 2 and 3, it was just a white outline, and then One UI 4, it went back to like a gray background, and then it stuck with the gray background until One UI 7, when they moved everything down and completely changed the whole camera UI. You can see like it wasn't a very consistent, easy approach that they took from where we started to where we've ended up. Like different things had different sort of services, and it wasn't really consistent. I really like where we've ended up, where there's a one-handed menu option down the bottom here, and then quick toggles at the top if you need to access them. And I kind of like One UI 6 as well. One UI 5 felt a little bit convoluted. Like if you flick it over into video, I think video will be a good showcase because Samsung have a lot of video features. Like One UI 1, well, it didn't have really any. neither did really One UI 2. But then One UI 3, at least with devices that had things like Super Steady, you could access those Super Steady toggles, and you could see the change that Super Steady has made as well over the years. It's a hand with 2 shake lines, then it's a running person, and then it's a running person in the opposite direction with One UI 7 and One UI 8. And then with One UI 1, there was no More tab, but then One UI 2 introduced the More tab, and then the More tab became like a really prominent feature set of Samsung's camera. I like what they've done with One UI and the More tab now. It's all lowered and down the bottom, whereas with all these ones, they're all high and up the top, and you had to long press and drag them in, which you do now. You long press and drag them in, but because it's so much lower to get there, it's easier more one-handed. The last thing here to look at is animations, because, well, people care about them. So I'm going to go into Home Up, and I'm just going to turn off the gesture animation tuning that I've done with One UI 8, just so it's the stock animations as opposed to anything else. So we showed you One UI 1, and we showed you the fact that One UI 1, it didn't really have app opening animations. They tried. Like if you press on the phone app there, it sort of opens from that spot and then it closes to that spot. And if I go from the bottom corner, or if I go from the other corner, that it's kind of like it tries. One UI 2, you can see it's Samsung's really early version of where we've ended up, where it's actually got sort of the opening and closing animations that from the spot, not bad. And then One UI 3 kind of expanded on that, and you can see there's actually something going on. It's weird from one generation to the next how much Samsung improved on that. And then when we get into One UI 4, even though this is an A90, it's running a Snapdragon chip, it's a flagship chip as well. They did a really good job with the animations that we've got there. And then 120 Hertz introduced, One UI 5 on the S20 Ultra. Everything looks pretty good. I'd be happy with that. If I was to use this now, that's not bad. One UI 6, I think Samsung started to try a little bit too hard here. With One UI 6, it didn't really have the bounce. Like this was better. Like that's a better animation. This is a better animation than that. Don't you agree? One UI 7, that's where Samsung started, I think got it right again. That extra bit of time and care that they took with the software was definitely worth it because it created a nice fluidity. And then One UI 8, well, Samsung have crushed it here. They have absolutely given us the best version of the animations that you can get. And like I said, with that tuning that you can do inside GoodLock, you now have that flexibility to customize that all for yourself. So you don't need to be at the behest of whatever Samsung thinks is a good animation. You can come in here with the gesture settings, tune both the app opening with speed or advanced tuning, which goes way over my head. So I just like to keep it fast with simple. And then the home gesture, again, can go in and advanced tune should you wish. Again, way over my head. There's too much stuff in there. Or stick to dynamic, and then you get nice fluidity, and you can see that sort of stuff there. So that's all of the versions of One UI. Like I said, I didn't want to make this a feature-based video because you can nitpick on features all day. Really, the way you use your phone is probably the most important aspect of the whole thing. And what I wanted to show was just how things have gone from the quick panel, the app drawer, animations, and really just lay it out in front of you where we started to where we've ended up. The OG Samsung DeX versus One UI 8 Samsung DeX is coming. My DeX dock has arrived and I'm working on getting that. I have to flash this back to its original software so we can see what DeX was in the OG days for that to happen. So just wanted to get this video done first. Hit subscribe for that. Join as a member if you want early access to these videos as well, because I do publish them a couple of days ahead of when they go live. You can see them before everyone else. And I'll see you guys in the next one. You!